but he makes it through lap 1 clean. Jerry, you've got more.
Dan Weldon told his crew he was going to try to lead lap 1 in turn 1. Whoa, trouble.
Jerry, we have a crash involving at least 1 car and possibly 2. Yes, there's another car sliding to the infield on the backstretch. The number 92 is involved. That is Jeff Bucknam. His father raced here, and his race is over in lap number 2. I'm trying to see who that is on the second car involved.
Rusty, you had mentioned something about cold tires, and that's the situation here you have. And actually, it's warm outside, but I'll tell you something. These guys have to have the patience to get to the end.
That second car involved is P.J. Chesson. He is out of his race car, and he appears to be okay.
These guys just got in a hurry. It looks like somebody made a mistake somewhere. P.J. is definitely one of the drivers, got one of the least experience out here in Buckman. They both ran pretty good speeds in practice, been out of trouble all month long, but I was concerned, Scott, that at the beginning of this thing, this was going to happen.
Let's go back, take another look. Oh, my.
Totally nothing to do with P.J. Buckman lost it, getting in the corner and took him with him. Unfortunate.
Remember, he's running in dirty air with that pack of car in front, and one of those cars was actually Jeff Simmons. So those 3 or 4 cars that are in front, all that turbulent air that comes off there makes your car not handle very well. You can see right in the middle of the turn where the G-forces, the load on the car, is the highest, is where the car lost grip and it went up into the wall. Here we go again from a bit further back. You can see how the car does a 180 and continues and hits the wall. And then what ends up happening is P.J. Chesson is just along his ride because he gets taken out in that accident.
We've just been informed by officials that Jeff Bucknam is out of the car. As you take another look in slow motion, these guys are going to get back into the garage area, and they're going to realize that the national anthem lasted longer than they did in the Indianapolis 500.
Marty, that's just too bad, man. We've been up here for a solid month. A lot of money, a lot of time has been spent. And Buckman that's just a classic case, Scott Jurger. He just missed it. He just lost it right there. The car got out from underneath them. You know, you can talk about getting the left front tire down the white line. Folks, I'm telling you, the white line here at Indy now is flat. You can put the tire on the white line and not upset the car like we've heard in the past here.
So we're going to take you side by side. The first time it's happened here at the Indianapolis 500. And you won't miss a thing. They'll continue to work here on the track, and we'll reset the stage. As cleanup continues here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway from a lap 2 crash involving Jeff Bucknam and P.J. Chesson. We can take you back and show you with the telemetry on Bucknam's car. It'll give you an idea how fast they were going.
Now watch the steering angle, see how it's starting to make the car maneuver itself around because it was starting to go out of control, and the throttle is actually up and down because he's searching for a good line on the racetrack. It's amazing how quickly the car can go up from underneath you. You know, you got so much speed here, guys. Danger is always lurking around the corner in the Indianapolis 500.
Well, we've got a moment. Let's check in. Rusty, I think you've got radio communication with Scott Sharp.
We're driving on slow and you tried to turn. Each and every stop. His Delphi crew has made adjustments and the car still pushes. Jamie?
And down to development number 90 car, teammate Thomas Schechter. And we have a crash with Thomas Schechter entering pit road.
Right at the attenuator as Schechter, he was running in the top 5. Let's listen in. Team's asking him if he's okay. He seems to be okay, but don't know if the radio is going to work. Our second caution. And guys, comes at a very opportune time. As you can see out the back of our onboard camera, there is not much left of the Vision Racing number 2.
Well, yeah, opportune time because we're getting within a lap or 2 of needing to come into the pit lane for fuel. So you can see the Delphi safety crew right there now starting to put the fire out that's on board Thomas Schechter's car, but they will not open the pit lane until they get this wreck out of the way. So this will have to be removed before they'll allow people to come in the pit lane. Hopefully nobody will run out of fuel, Marty.
So the safety crew helps Thomas get out of the car. Let's take a look and see what happened. Oh, man, coming out of 4.
Remember, he crashed in turn 4 the very first year that he was here. He was leading. In the first 2 years that he raced here in Indianapolis, he had led a total of 148 laps. Looks like he had his first race won here until he had a crash in turn 4. Just a little bit high there coming off, and the back end walked around from him. And then Luckily, he did not get pegged as he was sliding across the track and hitting the attenuator, which is on the entrance to pit road. Let's listen. Whoa, right, the left front wheel down on the rumble strips, upsets the balance of the car, takes the back end, swings the back end around. And Rusty, you and I have both been in that situation before. When you're spinning like that, you just hope you don't get hit.
Yeah, he had the front of the car real down low in the racetrack. Whether it upset him or not, Scott, I don't know, but he definitely lost it. And I tell you what, thank gosh he got slowed down enough before he hit that inside wall, because that could have really hurt.
Well, I'll tell you, that's the difference between your car and our car. You guys can run up on those rumble strips, we hit them, and we're in trouble.
Now, all of a sudden, Thomas is sitting down. The safety crew is being looked at. Now, we also get word that something may have flown up into the grandstand. You can see everybody has turned, and that is well up underneath. That's looks like about 25 rows up into the grandstand. So we'll keep you posted. We are going to take a break here. We'll be back after this word from our ABC stations. We'll update you what happened here at Indianapolis.
Charles Gibson.
Our second yellow of the day here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the 90th Indianapolis 500 telecast presented by Capital One. It was a one-car incident involving Thomas Schechter, and we did have a piece of debris fly into the grandstands. Watch what happens here as Jacques Lazier comes down the straightaway.
He's got lots of room on the racetrack. I can't really understand why he hit it. Maybe he was looking at some other debris that was further down, but watch his left front tire actually hit and shatter the piece of wing. And here we go now. The black piece of carbon fiber is actually going up into the stands. Remember, he's probably still doing 120 or 30 miles an hour. Here we go again. Shatters it, and the pieces are just going every which way, and that looks to be what is actually ejected itself up into the grandstand, Marty.
Safety officials are on site. We have no report yet as to what has happened, if anyone has been injured up there, but never want to see that. And of course, over the years, they have raised the fence higher and higher just for those purposes. Meanwhile, let's go back and show you what happened with Al Jr. as Al Unser Jr. goes through the debris.
Well, Frank, that's Marco Andretti actually just slicing right underneath him. Luckily, he did not get taken out in it. Al Unser Jr., very wise, just slows down. Al Jr. currently running 14th. Remember, he just came back out of retirement, and now they've opened up the pit lane. Even though there's still some debris there, guys, they had to open up the pit lane because everybody was close to their fuel run.
All right, as they come in, let's check in with Jerry Punch.
We're going to show you the top three guys pitting here. It'll be top, middle, and bottom. It'll be Dan Weldon, Scott Dixon, and Sam Hornish. Top, middle, and bottom of your screen as they all come down pit road at 60 miles an hour. No changes on Dan Weldon's car. A slight front wing adjustment on Scott Dixon's machine because of an understeer in the turn. Let's head down to Jack Root as you watch the target crew working here.
Sam Hornish Jr. pulls into the marks. He's not quite sure what sort of an adjustment to make on his car, Jerry. He says the car handles differently in each of the corners. So all they did is take out the 30 gallons of fuel, and then was counseled by Roger Penske to watch for the traffic until he was clear.
There were several cars that benefited from this yellow. One of them just went through your screen. Danica Patrick came into the pits in 8th place. She was going to be Dan Weldon's next victim if it had stayed green, and she'd have been a lap down.
She got a heck of a break.
To get sorted out after pit stops. Let's go back and take another angle at this wing that goes up into the stands.
As you can see, it's flying and right over the crew members in the pit lane, and that just took off like a blade of a helicopter or something, Rusty. It's amazing. Now look at the car coming here, the yellow car coming. You'll see there again, Jacques Lazier, the 21 car, completely explodes. What's going to end up happening here? You'll end up seeing some of these pieces just going directly that way. Up and over. Some actually go into the no man land, as we call it, over there by the entrance to the pits, and that main piece of carbon fiber wing.
There's Jacques Lazier. I mean, it flies like a frisbee, but unfortunately it's not made of rubber or plastic, and it can be wicked when it goes up into the stands.
Now, dude, look, he does have new front wing on there. It's all black, so they have come in and replaced the wing.
All right, got an update on the fan. Jamie Little.
Well, guys, that one fan was just escorted out with medical crews. They said he walked out on his own power and he appeared to be unhurt. He was laughing and joking about it. You know he's enjoying his time here, but all we know is he walked out under his own power, and if we get an update, we'll get it to you.
Well, that is great news, Jamie. Thanks for passing that along, because it was a scary moment. As we said, that piece flying up. As we go side by side, there is your top 5 at Indy.
England still had not been up to speed, so now Weldon takes the lead going through the turn 1, turn 2 segment, and now leads going down the backstretch with Dixon very close behind in the third car. As we have a yellow coming out, the third car is Sam Hornish Jr.
Oh, and we've had another crash involving 2 cars. That looks like it's coming. It's Elio Castroneves, the 2-time winner. He has completed every lap that he has raced here at the Speedway in all of his prior races in the 5 times that he's been here. Here in his 6th on lap number 110, he hits the wall.
Now you saw Elio, the visor is up. He was actually moving the visor up on his helmet when he was actually starting to drive. There he goes and starts to take out some of the molding around the head surround.
And Buddy Rice, the 2004 winner here, he is also involved in this. Castroneves was running in 9th place, and Buddy a little bit further back. He's already out of the car. Safety crews trying to help Elio climb out of the cockpit of his car.
That is an incredibly hard hit. This car is torn to pieces.
All right, let's go back, take a look, see what we can see in turn 4.
Oh, there you go. Elio had a run on Rice because Rice got held up by traffic, and he thought he would just be able to get underneath Rice, carry the speed through, and Buddy Rice just didn't know that he was coming because the closing rate was so fast, and the cars just touch, and then they go into the safer barrier that's on the outside of the racetrack. The cement wall is what they're rubbing against now, but when they hit the wall in the turn, it's called the safer barrier, the steel and foam energy reduction surface that they go against. Something that was designed by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Rusty is used on all the open wheel tracks now, and now used on all the NASCAR tracks.
Scott, I don't think that Rice even saw this coming. You know, Castroneves got in so hard, he had no chance of the grip and got right into him, and really, that was a hard hit. Both noses straight up into the wall.
So for the first time in his 6 tries here at Indy, Elio Castroneves will not be running at the end of the event. It was a great string while it lasted, but it's over for Elio today. So Team Penske is down to 1 bullet. We're going side by side.
They finally get the right rear tire on. They've got to get it completely full. They had to hold her for fuel, guys, but they had to get it full because of the fuel mileage.
Oh no, and Danica is going to get the bad break this time because yellow comes out on the race course for a crash involving Unser Jr.
Yeah, I'm okay.
So Danica a lap down.
Okay.
Let's wait and see if Al is okay. He's moving in the cockpit.
That's actually Al on the radio radioing back to the pits, to the Dreyer and Reinbold team, saying, you know something, I'm okay.
He was running in 15th position. There is a part of the debris that is out on the racetrack. And you can see the marks up on the turn 2 wall. So a tough break for Al Unser Jr., of course, the 2-time winner here. Won the race for the first time in 1992 in what is still the closest finish at 43/1000th of a second over Scott Goodyear. And then also 2 years later, let's go on board.
Oh, the car's not right on the way in. It makes you wonder if they're a suspension piece or a tire going down or something of that nature. We really don't know. We're just really speculating, but you can see he was nervous on the turn in, and then you saw him fight the steering wheel because the car was not as it was previously. And you can see at this point in time, he gets to the middle of the turn where the highest G loading is, and the car has already come around.
Scott, that car got loose way early going at that corner, pretty well in a straight line. And he could definitely tell something was happening. He was just a passenger at that point.
Okay, guys, I'm a little bit confused. We had a close-up of some debris back in turn 2. That's where I thought the accident occurred, and obviously we're looking at turn 3, which brings back a bad memory for Al. If you remember back in 1989, that's where he had contact going down to the wire against Emerson Fittipaldi. Could something have come off that car?
Well, it's when you said debris, I didn't see it back there, but it was something in 2. It did look to me like when he went to turn in, the car was nervous and loose, and maybe the right rear tire started to go down because he didn't want to turn the wheel down to the turn because it was very nervous.
All right, so we're under caution for the 4th time today. As let's go back and show you what happened with Townsend Bell's pit stop.
Now this is the fueling rig that they have plugged in here. You can see, try to remove it and it starts to get stuck. And Townsend luckily starts to pull away without taking the fuel nozzle with him.
Vince, you've got more on another incident in the pits?
That's right. In the Jeff Simmons pit area, the number 17 car came in for a fuel stop with Steve Dixon, team manager. And Steve, what happened on that stop?
Looks like he just left a little bit early, and looks like we might have part of the fuel probe in the car, so we're going to have a look at it here.
And what's the condition of the fuel assistant that's down?
We're certainly trying to check on him here as best we can.
The pit crew member is up and he's being tended to by the medical crew and the safety crew that is here. Seems to have a left arm injury. That's the area that they're tending to, but he is awake, alert, he is conscious, and crew members working on him. But certainly a scary situation anytime you're talking about the fuel hose of a car. Now they're going to bring Simmons' car into the pit box, and he does come in. Doesn't look to be anything attached to the car. Oh, there is actually coil that had been stuck in the back of the car. It was not actually stuck in the fuel receptacle.
All right, thanks, Vince. And of course, that is Team Ethanol, and of course, that is the fuel that we will be running entirely next year, 10% this year, and that brings us
miles per hour. Here, what happens down in Sam Hornish's pit as we check in with Jack Carew?
Jerry, if it's like playing offense for a driver, then when the crew goes to work, it's like playing defense, taking out 30 gallons of fuel, and Sam Hornish in the drivers stalls the car in an effort to try and not get beat. He pulls away from the fuel tank. He ruptures the fuel nozzle. It is still stuck in the car. There is a bit of a fire. Quick thinking, though. Removes the fuel nozzle, but boy, oh boy, what a costly miscue. And guys, I'll tell you right now, he saw in his mirror that Dan Weldon was closing and had completed his stop, and emotion came into play, and Sam Hornish pulled out too soon.
All right, we're taking a look at the replay, and there it is. And Hornish, he actually runs over the right foot of the fueler. This is a replay of what happened to Townsend Bell, although this time, look at all the fuel gushing because it does break the hose. He stops the car. Big problems for Sam Hornish and this team now.
Marty, the guy in the left front holding his hand, he pulls his hand back. Watch this. This is the key for the driver to leave. Stay watching, pulls it back.
Now, Rusty, that's
leaves.
not true, because Penske is about one of the only teams up and down this pit lane that uses radio communication. I've said this before. If the driver is looking at their right front man and the right front man holds there and stands there, the right front man gets to look at everything that's going on around the car. He notices when the 4 tires are done, the fuel's pulled out, then he can release the car. We've seen this before because they're going by a radio and they go by timing. So now they're probably saying, get ready, get ready, get ready. I disagree with the system they have there. I always found it best to have the guy that's on the right front.
I disagree with the system too. You're no doubt about that. But if a guy's got it
box so that they could remove the fuel Buckeye, then immediately he ordered the crew to get the spare fuel hose, and they have reasserted it now, inserted it into the fuel tank. And this is the one thing, as you see the team, and Jeff Simmons under caution has just collided with the wall. You can see the right rear down, guys.
So Simmons was one of the 5 cars that was getting the wave by, so he was coming up to speed to catch up to the tail end of the pack. Now Simmons was running in 16th spot, 3 laps down, but he would have gotten one of those laps at back because he would have gotten back to the tail end of that lap. And here he is now extending our caution period because we never truly did go back to green flag racing. Jerry, you've got more with Team Ganassi?
Well, down here with the team that's had the 2 dominant cars today, Chip Ganassi is the owner, And Chip, before we talk about your domination here today, you were a little frustrated about what you saw happen with the Sam Hornish pit stop. Why?
Well, no, you know, that we've been getting nitpicked all day by the director up there, hearing from the owner down there in the Penske pits, and I just want to make sure he was aware of what happened on that last stop, that's all.
Is there a penalty involved if that happens, if the fuel hose is attached and someone falls, in your mind?
Historically, when you leave the pits with equipment attached to it, there's a penalty with that, yes.
All right, now what about your two cars here, 1-2 here? What kind of team orders, when you talk to these guys and you know they're going to be this good between Dan Weldon and Scott Dixon, what do you tell them? What orders and restrictions do they have?
Well, there's no restrictions. They know that, but it's, you know, there's a hell of a long way to go here, Jerry. And, you know, we just want to keep the target team up there where it is right now. And a lot of race to go.
Through 3. Hornish closing one more time. Coming out of 4. Down the front stretch. It's a drag race. Marco Andretti. Hornish. Who's going to win? At the stripe. It's Hornish. Hornish wins by 6/100ths of a second. The closest finish, second closest in Indy history.
All right. You're a hell of a man, guy. Whoa. You're the man. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
If you are Marco Andretti, though, you cannot be disappointed.
Look at the agony, the ecstasy. Let's go back, take another look at this great finish. I didn't think Sam could do it after losing that first attempt, that first run.
I absolutely thought that he blew it because he didn't get that run on him before and make it successful. But look at this. It almost made me myself back in 1992 when I chased Al Jr., except Sam got the job done.
Scott, Roger Penske runs Sam Hornish that race. He won him that race by bringing him down pit road and topping him off the field and barely making it on field mileage.
The second closest finish in the history of this 90-year event. Sam Hornish, who had never completed the 500 miles in his prior attempts here, in his 7th try, not only does he complete them, he wins the Indianapolis 500.